living up to the name of his YouTube channel, Becoming Filipino, Canadian vlogger Kyle Jennerman, or Kulas, is close to being granted Filipino citizenship. All that's needed is the President's signature after the Senate approved the bill to officially make him Filipino. Kulas joins us now from Davao Oriental, live here in our CNN Philippines studios. Kulas, yes. Magandang gabi sa'yo. Kamusta ka?
Magandang gabi. Mayan gabi sa Bisaya. But either or, we can say it in many languages.
Mabuhay ka.
Mabuhay.
Kamusta naman na magiging Pilipino ka na?
Grabe, very overwhelmed. Pero sobrang masaya, kalipay, I'm happy, I'm very, very excited.
Paano natin sasabihin yan? Kyle Kulas Jennerman, a Filipino citizen. What does it feel like?
You know what? It still has to fully set in that could happen. Again, it has to get the signature. But I'm very, very excited because I'm very optimistic that it's going to give me even more motivation and inspiration and connection with the place I call home. And, you know, with those millions of Filipinos I interact with, not just in the real world, but in the online world.
And you've been quoted as saying that being a Filipino is one of the greatest moments in your life. Why? You've only been here for 10 years, Kulas.
Yeah, but can you imagine? I'm 35 years old right now. So I got here when I was 24. That's basically my entire young adulthood. So I've grown fully immersed with the country, you know, in this very, very important part of my life. And for me to have the possibility of immersing even more with a place that I highly admire and really look up to, it's just very, very exciting, and for me, one of the greatest things that can happen.
At ang maganda rin, Kulas, marunong ka rin mag-Tagalog.
Marunong Tagalog, pero again, medyo mahirap kasi nakatira Mindanao, maraming Bisaya doon, so I could dugo sa ilong na yun, or we say sunggo in Bisaya, yeah, sunggo.
So, tell us, paano ka nakarating dito sa Pilipinas 10 years ago when you were 24 years old?
So, dati magtrabaho ko sa Hong Kong, outdoor education, working with international schools, and my barkada and workmates were Filipino. So I was working with them for about 3 months, and then, you know, on the weekends, we patak, chip in, we eat together, we drink together, and then we work really hard, and I'm like, man, these guys can be happy, and we're working so hard.
Lagi tayong tumatawa, mga Pilipino.
So, I connected with Filipinos overseas, and here's the best part.
Yeah.
They talked about their country and where they're from in such a positive way. It motivated me to go there. And what happened is I went here, and it completely, you know, had a positive effect on my life. So I always think back, that's such an important thing. There's 10 million Filipinos around the world. The only reason I was introduced to the country wasn't here. It was with Filipinos outside, in Hong Kong. Yeah.
Pero naman, marami ka na rin napuntahan mga bansa. You've been to many countries around the world, close to 30 of them,
yes.
And you chose the Philippines.
Originally, that first trip, which was 3.5 weeks, Cebu, Cagayan de Oro, Davao, Manila, very, very overwhelmed with the way that being happy was such an intrinsic, like, cool thing. And what I mean by that is, no matter what people were going through, it was cool to find a reason to be happy and to share that. And that kind of hit me really hard. I was like, you know what, that's a really amazing intrinsic thing that I think everybody can learn from, and I think could benefit people's lives anywhere in the world. So I came back, and then I lived with a family, and I immersed more.
Yeah.
And I started trying to figure out more and more things compounded that I looked up to. So,
what do you love about the Filipino culture? What do you love about the Filipino?
What's amazing is we could probably spend hours talking about that, but I'll make it short. I'll give you a few examples.
10 minuto lang tayo, pero you can talk about it for hours.
Magsalita mabilis. You know, stuff like the adaptability. I would argue that here, there's almost no such thing as no. We'll figure it out.
Correct.
So you can look at like the island of Kapol, northern Samar, where it's a really small island. They speak Inabaknon there, and they have little mini roads, so they can't have big vehicles. So what do? They expand their motors to be able to fit everything. They adapt. There's no, we're going to figure this out and get it done.
And that's the bayanihan spirit of the Filipino.
Yeah, just
lagi nagtutulungan.
Oh, sakto. Everybody come together, diba? I mean, I've seen that many times in many different ways.
But you can be called Kyle, the Filipino Jennerman. Paano nangyari? Saan mo nakuha yung pangalan na Kulas?
Okay, so my life here, you can't script this, huh? I was just tambay, loob sa bahay. I lived in a family compound in Cagayan de Oro. 2014, I'm just tambay in the house. And then there's like 20 people in the compound. My nangs, manongs, titas, titos. My manong walks in. I'm sitting there, looks at me and goes, Kulas. I'm like, ano yan? Like, what the heck? My barkada, Kulas. Then it spreads. You know, it was like, for me, it was a big, you know, it was after a year of being here. It was like the ultimate, hey, my Filipino friends and, you know, the family who's like adopted me in a sense, really gave me that, you're local, man. We love having you here. You're kulas. And I love it. Medyo, as well, it's been a blessing because medyo mahirap.
Oh.
Pasyo dito sa Pilipinas. And ano pangalan mo? Kyle. It's like, Kyle, but na yun,
Kulas.
madali, di ba? Oh.
At ngayon, everybody knows you as Kulas, the YouTube vlogger with more than 1 million subscribers. And all of that was gained by vlogging about the 7,000 plus islands of the country.
Yeah, well, here's the fascinating thing, is I was never a blogger, I was never a vlogger. I never even thought I'd be in that industry of doing this.
Gusto mo lang tumira dito?
Well, after that first year in 2013 and having so many experiences living here and coming and going, I just found a lot of purpose in sharing about the place and the people and what I was experiencing. And I saw a lot of value in that. So I thought, what am I going to do? Maybe I'll take some pictures and write, but then maybe not everybody will believe it. So I have to video stuff. So you just learn and learn and learn. And it was just really a passion and purpose thing that grew and became, I think, very positive, not just for me, but for other people around me and around the world. And I know that from interacting with people now over the past 10 years who talk to me about it and share about it.
You know, Kulas, changing your citizenship is a major life decision. Everybody, most Filipinos want to be American citizens, they want to be Canadian citizens, but you're the other way around. What was the catalyst over the past 10 to 11 years that told you, yes, my heart, my soul is in the Philippines, gusto ko maging Pilipino?
So, for me, when I said becoming Filipino and everything I've been doing the past 10 years, that was not me trying to be a Filipino. I even don't think that would be appropriate for me just to go, hey, I'm going to become a Filipino, so here I'm going to try and do something. But basically, after living here and immersing myself completely, you know, I had no foreign friends in the country, all Filipino. When the opportunity presents itself, I thought, is this something I deserve? And I realized I'm not one to answer that. It's not for me to answer. I don't know how or what makes you deserve it. But then, like I told you earlier, I've been here 10 years.
Yes.
Fully immersed, living with Filipino families. All of my barkada are Filipino. I have barely any foreign friends in the country.
Do you still go back to Canada?
Yes, because you should always respect where you're from, diba? And
where are you from in Canada?
Vancouver, the West Coast.
Vancouver, yes.
So the big catalyst for me was, is this something that I think can be positive for myself and other people? Will it give me that extra motivation, inspiration to really feel like I'm at home and can give my all to the country every day? Yes, it is. So it's something I'm comfortable with pursuing because I believe that it will give me the extra inspiration to really commit my whole life to trying to do positive things here with Filipinos until I die.
Kahanga-hanga ka talaga.
No, sobrang, even me saying this now, it's very overwhelming because personally, like, I just have days where I cry, man, just thinking about it, even through the process. You know, even now it hasn't set in that this might be happening. I think when it does happen, it's still going to take a long time to
So
process.
saan ka nakatira ngayon? Where do you live?
So Davao Oriental, I live in the province.
Bakit mo pinilan Davao Oriental? In which particular town?
Katiil, but it's hard to pronounce. Medyo mahirap to pronounce.
A tongue twister.
Tongue twister. I live up north. It's about 2 hours north of Mati, in the east coast of Mindanao. And yeah, me and my barkada, we stumbled upon the place. And I kid you not, even now, like in Canada, we're kind of trained in the sense that when we become adults, it's go be independent, live on your own.
Yeah.
And even now, I found myself, I live in a compound with friends. It's like we all live together. You know, it is really fascinating for me at the age of 35, feeling comfortable in that situation. I think that's the Philippines rubbing off on me, you know. It's nice to be around people who are your friends and they're like family.
And how many places have you been to in the Philippines?
Every province. I just came from Sulu 2 weeks ago.
Sulu?
My last province.
And you've been to Batanes?
Yes, twice.
From Batanes to Sulu.
There you go.
End to end.
Yes, end to end. It's been magical too, Rico, because you know, it's really taught me that the country is incredibly diverse. I mean, Filipinos are very regionalistic, I would say. You know, and I'd be comfortable in saying that because I've been everywhere. You know, you're Ilocano, you're Ilocano. You know, you're Bisaya, you're Bisaya. You know, you're Bicolano, you're Bicolano.
Yeah.
But the coolest thing is, imagine in Sulu, I could be bumping into a Tausug family. The first thing they might do is, hey, let's eat. But then I could be in the Cordilleras, you know, somewhere in Kalinga. First thing they might do is, hey, let's eat. I could be in Manila, maybe in a barangay. Hey, let's eat. You know, there's similarities amongst the differences that are beautiful. And that's something I appreciate.
Absolutely. And we're really very proud of you. And one last advice to our Filipino viewers who tell themselves, should I really be Filipino? Why should I be proud to be Filipino? Send them that message that they should be proud of their culture and their heritage, Kulas.
You know what? I don't think it would be for me to tell anybody why they should be proud, but I'll tell you what, if you have the blessing or you take the time to go around, immerse and connect with your country and people, I promise you, you'll have a really positive perspective about where you're from. And I believe that you'll feel the way I feel about the country.
I can feel your emotion.
Yeah, it's
Kulas.
that's the truth, because again,
your roots are here, and I see you growing old in the Philippines.
I see myself being, you know, blessed, knock on wood, that I'll live a long life here, but I will live and die here, I hope. I dream. I believe I will.
Mabuhay ka.
Mabuhay.
Kulas.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and we're really very proud of you. And we do hope the President of the Philippines will be signing off on that naturalization bill sooner rather than later.
Thank you po. Salamat po, and no matter what, I'm just very blessed and happy to be here.
You're indeed blessed to be in the Philippines. You're a blessing to us. YouTube vlogger Kyle Kulas Jennerman.
Thank you.
Maraming salamat.